We've all grown a certain fascination when it comes to horror movies, whether it's set in a potentially real-life situation or something a little bit more paranormal.
But what I want to discuss is a different type of horror movie, the horror comedy.
With the new Tremors movie due out next month, I figured it would be a perfect opportunity to take a look at a few times their signature monster,
Graboids,
managed to pop up in our favorite video games. Starting off this list, and in no particular order, the Gravedigger. A result of the T-virus leaking and being exposed to millipedes in the soil, there are multiple of these creatures encountered when playing as Jill as she escapes Raccoon City in Resident Evil 3. The first living encounter finds Gravedigger burrowing in the sewers, causing Jill to fall through. This encounter is easy enough, as all you need to do is avoid its reach and activate the power to the ladder. Climb on out and you're all set. Our second encounter is a bit more eventful. As we escape into the cemetery, it turns out the worm has gotten a bit hungry and decided to feast on those buried and laid to rest. This causes the ground to become unstable as Jill once again falls through the collapsed cemetery. This time we have to face it full on. With a few well-placed shots from some powerful weapons combined with the proper footwork, you can weaken this guy enough to set a trap. One little zap from the electrified water and it's game over. For the worm, that is. By this point you would imagine Umbrella would be a bit more careful about keeping their experiments away from night crawlers, right? No, not at all. Seriously, Umbrella decided to deliberately experiment on Earthworm DNA with the T-virus. At some point during the Rockford Island incident, it must have gotten loose because the first time you travel to the training facility, the worm isn't present, with zombie dogs occupying the space instead. The worm is first encountered by Claire and it's pretty easy to dodge. Kinda. Just keep avoiding him as you escape the island. You'll face it once again for the final showdown with her brother Chris as he arrives to the island to rescue her. He manages to kill it pretty easily, shortly after it eats our buddy Rodrigo. Kill it fast enough and Rodrigo will give Chris the lighter that Claire gave him earlier in the game. Take too long and Rodrigo dies, and more importantly, Chris doesn't get his hands on those sweet submachine guns. Moving on, our next adventure takes us to the Kingdom of Hyrule. Throughout the deserts you can find 4 Molduga, the Moldu King being found as part of the Champions Ballad DLC. With a little shield surfing on the sand, you can find this one digging around. As with the classic Graboid, thanks Walter, this creature detects movement on the ground, so it's best to get on something solid. A few bomb traps and you can kill one of these for yourself. Take your spoils and be on your way. Get all 4 and earn a special prize from Kilton. Before we continue, I would like to add an honorable mention to the Nidus worm in StarCraft 2. Although it functions only as an exit to the Nidus network, I wanted to mention it because of one reason. Yup, this bad boy breaching reminds me of a Graboid.
Graboid!
Oh, damn it, Walter, I swear one more out of you and you're dead. Meanwhile, our quest takes us to the future. In the post-apocalyptic world of Horizon Zero Dawn, we encounter the terraforming machine known as the Rockbreaker. You can avoid them for the most part, as they seem to stay isolated to one part of the map, but you are forced to deal with them at least once in the main story campaign, and again if you try to clear up corrupted zones. These monstrosities have a lot of the same traits as the worms of the movies. It can dig, breach, and even lunge at you. But given that this is a futuristic machine, it has some added weaponry of throwing broken up pieces of earth at you. They're not easy to take down, but at least they're, well, just try to avoid them. In keeping with our futuristic mechanical worms, our next stop takes us to Sonic Mania. When playing through Mirage Saloon, you'll see one of Eggman's hard-boiled heavies toss aside a caterpillar. This seemingly minor act of aggression will come back into play later. Continue playing through Act 1 until you reach the mid-boss. Here we find the hard-boiled heavy once again, but this time he casts a little magic. The caterpillar from the beginning of the zone turns into a giant caterpillar or uber caterpillar. This one is a bit of a handful as you can only hurt it by hitting its head. Hitting it anywhere else will just knock you back. 6 hits and the boss battle is over.
And that was a few times video games featured my favorite subterranean monster, Graboids.
Graboid!
Damn it, Walter, I told you one more time and you're...